Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Profit Minds podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Kirch, creator of the Profit Minds Growth System, a unique blend of profit growth, productivity acceleration, and building robust business process for scale. In every episode, I interview entrepreneurs and small business owners from around the world with a unique story to tell. You can find the show on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. Well, hi, everyone. Today, my guest is Mike Dallas-Petersen, coach and founder of the Integrator Academy. Today, we'll be focusing on how an integrator helps small businesses. Welcome, Mike.
Hey there. Thanks for having me, Stephen.
Yeah, so I start every episode with, tell me your story. How did you get to be, and you got to tell us what an integrator is too, but how did you get to be an integrator and what is it that you do?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, and I think the easiest explanation is just I stumbled upon it by accident. I almost not invented, but I just basically stumbled upon something that fit me instead of just following all these niche work from home businesses and all these ideas that are out there. I kind of just started doing my own thing, and it worked out really, really, really well for me. I was so the majority of my working career was in tires and doing like big, large mining tires and wheelbarrow tires all the way up to you name it, 12-foot tall tires. So I was there, and I was at a point where, number one, I was building a family. Number two, I was just like, is this life? This is like corporate, like 15 hours a day, winter rush. I'm like in northern Canada, like this is crazy. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And I was just kind of going through, like, I don't know if I want to do this. And so it came to a point where I was working for some people that weren't so nice, and they kept on making me feel bad about taking off at when I'm supposed to be off at work to go visit my family, who, my son was just born. And so I was like, this is not for me. So I quit, and I was like, I got to do something. And I took a year off, and I raised my kid at home. And while I was doing that, I did a ton of research. I tried marketing agencies. I tried affiliate marketing. I tried e-commerce. I tried at that time there was no crypto, but I did like the short-term and long-term investing ideas, and you name it, I've tried it. I did the MLM, sell your friends and family, and they sell their friends and family. I tried it all. So within that year, I was like, a ton of failure, ton of like, I just couldn't make it. And then after that year, I was like, I got to go back to work because I got nothing. I couldn't do it. And so I ended up starting a brand new tire shop from the ground up for this entrepreneur in town. He was like, hey, I've got a building. Can you just build it for me? So I did everything. I ordered the equipment. I got everything placed in. I hired the employees. I got the software installed. I did the whole thing. And we ended up branding under like a well-known brand in Canada. But we basically took that store from zero to almost $250,000 in like the first 4 months. And so we took a lot of business from town. And so it was in that particular scenario where I was like, man, I'm like really good at this like startup building stuff, helping people out kind of stuff, and like just really like building, right? Like that's what I was really good at. And then maintaining was just something I was just like, I'm not really good at this maintaining stuff, just sitting there every day doing the same thing over and over again. So I was like, listen, I had an idea. I was like, I'm going to go back to the people that I was working with in like the MLM and like all these coaching programs and all this kind of stuff, and see if they need help with their systems and building. And like within the first day, I got a client that was like, I'll pay you $1,500 a month to help me out. And I was like, whoa, okay, like, sure. Please sign me up. And like 1,500 American in Canada is, it's a bigger payday, right? It's like 1,700, 1,800 Canadian. So, that's a decent buck to just stumble upon. And so I was like, hey, maybe I'm on something. And then,
yes.
What's that?
And in day one.
And day one, yeah, it was like day one. It was a well-known person that we stayed connected. He was one of the first people that was like really helped me out when I was starting the entrepreneur game, if you will. And so yeah, like I just stumbled upon it, and then within the first 2 months, I was making $10,000 a month US. And I was like, hey, my wife, well, she was pregnant again, going, round two, kid number two. And I was like, hey, why don't you just stay home and I'll go back to work? And she's like, okay. So I was like, okay. So I was working tire shop and I was working my online business at the same time. I got pictures of me in a tire shed in a coat, working, taking calls on the computer and stuff like that. But it, it was like crazy. It was a real grind. But after that, I got up to about 25,000 a month. And I was like, why am I still working? What am I doing? Like, I'm going to take it home. So, it was, I guess, in short, that's where, this whole integrator style business was born. It was just by chance. I was like, this sounds like I could offer it as a service. And I did. And it's stuck ever since.
And that's what you called then the Integrator Academy? Is that the nascence of that?
Good question. So the Integrator Academy is fairly new. So an integrator, and I guess to answer your second question from the beginning, an integrator is someone who helps out small business owners, whether they're online, brick and mortar, with their online systems, right? So we integrate autoresponders like emails and your CRM and pipelines and text messages and phone calls and, advertisements and lead forms and websites, whatever you will. We're going to try and integrate everything so they talk to each other. We effectively glue the internet together for you, right? And so what would take you 3 tasks to do, I want to do it in one, right? And I don't even want you to touch it. I want it to automatically happen for you. So we're going to try and automate and integrate and everything so it just happens for you, right? And so that's where my first business, Social Aim Solutions, was born, and where I help businesses do that. And where the Integrator Academy was born was like, I had a lot of seasonal clients. And for example, seasonal clients would be a company that follows like hail storms around the United States, and they set up pop-up tents and they basically just fix vehicles that got dented by hail storms, right? So that's one seasonal business that I help build the entire system so they could be mobile and do all this. And so in basically growing and helping out these people, when their slow time came and they didn't need me anymore, they tried to come back and work with me. And I was like, I'm too busy. I got too much work. There's no way. And I'm at a point where, I was at one time I was making, $80,000-$100,000 a month. And I'm like, I don't want to expand. I don't want to get bigger. I don't want to keep doing like all this. Like, I got into this so I could do less, not more. Right. And so I'm a little bit different. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a step back and I'm just going to try and teach people what I do, so I can hopefully give them clients, also introduce them to clients, but also help them find more clients and do what I do and get out of the rat race. Maybe people are still struggling with building a marketing agency and it's not for them, or, building a funnel agency, it's not, or copywriting or affiliate marketing or e-commerce, whatever it might be. Like I want to help them do something that maybe is more in line with, what they want to do. And so that's where the academy is very new. It's because I was just overloaded and I still can't service all the clients, and I still don't have enough students to help out. Right.
So your integrator business is pulling together all the different sort of back end technologies to help a small business scale, right? Am I hearing that correctly? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the integrator. Yeah. And the Integrator Academy is where you teach other people how to do that.
Correct.
Okay.
As a service. Yeah.
So you offer that also as a program for people who like you, I guess you said, you really like helping people and you like building stuff. And this is a way of building digital stuff.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are really good at starting things and not finishing, and like there's a lot of people that especially in the online world, they get to a point where they've built a marketing agency to XYZ a month and they're fairly happy, but then it just kind of fails and they're not sure really why. And I'm one of those people, I'm just really not good in the maintenance mode, like where we're just like keeping things going and it's just it's the day after day grind thing. And I'm just not into that kind of stuff. And so for those people that struggle with that, maybe starting a ton of different things, this is where you can basically help out in a month 5 different clients start 5 different types of businesses in 5 different parts of the world with 5 different pieces of software, or even more, right? And so it's just really nice if you're very solution oriented and you just always have, oh well, I can do this, and oh I could fix it with that or something like that. Then that's probably a better business option for you, right?
Yeah. So what kind of person is really ideal for that kind of role? Is there certain mindset then that that works better? What's the kind of person that should consider this kind of thing?
Yeah, I would say any working professional, doesn't matter, like in terms of gender. I've helped out male, female, and a working professional, someone in like maybe logistics or even already in tech of some sort, someone that's already tried to build their own business and maybe failed, or it didn't, or it's not where they want it to be, if that makes sense. But mostly people that have a very solution oriented mindset, where they're just like always coming up with solutions, or they're always like, well, no, there's a way around this, and things like that, right? Because those are the people that will eventually help out business owners with, they're like, well, I'm struggling here, and then you're like instantly going, well, I could solve that right now. I could build that for you right now. I could fix this, I could add this, we could do this, and then boom, now that's the fixed, or that's automated, or that's ready to go, kind of thing for you.
And is that really the heart of it? Is automating those activities? I mean, what's the range of services, I guess, that you offer as an integrator?
Right. So I'm unique because I just hate saying no. So I will pretty much help out with almost anything that anything online. I have subcontractors in India, Pakistan, the Philippines, and stuff like that. So if there's something I don't know, I can go to them and we can sublet and hire them to do. We can build an app, or we can build a custom software. We could we could. I have a guy in India who's a full-time copywriter. Like, so there's a lot of things that, like, I don't necessarily know how to do, but I can get it done for you. The convenience of like hiring an integrator like myself is I have all this in my back pocket. Whereas if you were to hire someone else, you'd have to go hire two or three other people and find them yourself, and struggle with that, right? And so I like to help out, but the majority of what I help out with is a lot of CRMs, auto responding to people, right? There's a stat in America, I think it was like a real estate stat, that said like 60% of all leads generated online in the real estate industry never receive a first response. There's something like $3 or $4 billion a year spent in real estate advertising. So I was like, well, that's a lot of money to be thrown away. And so you look at numbers like that and you're like, well, these people are like, everyone's really struggling with figuring out how to, get back to these clients and things like that. So CRMs is really where autoresponders will do websites, funnels, we'll hook up your ads, and then we will integrate things. Like, there's a lot of like bookkeeping activities, right? I help out like an Airbnb short-term rental business, and there's like, one house, one Airbnb might have 15 people stay in it, 15 separate times in a month, right? There's 15 different invoices, and there's 15 sets of expenses and all that. So we automate a lot of the bookkeeping, so that doesn't have to be done manually, things like that, right?
What does it take to get started?
So to get started with me in particular, and if for example you want to start your own integrator business, it would be I always start people off in just the easiest and the most simple path, which is like CRMs and stuff like that. But working with me, I can help people out, or you can do your own research on like how to build a CRM. What are some of the best CRM systems? Why do people need them? And doing some research that way. If, for example, you're a business and you want to hire an integrator, then you can just reach out to me, and we can pair you with someone that would be an ideal fit for what you need done, if that makes sense, right?
Okay. And I presume then the cost varies with how many services and how many things you need to have integrated and so forth and so on. Is it like a one-time setup fee, or typically do you charge a retainer? How does that how
Yeah, good question. So there's like a myriad of things that can happen. So there's a lot of times I'll get hired for like a quick thing, like, hey, I need this quickly done, and then I'll just do it by like a one-time thing. Generally, what I have is I have a grocery list. All right, we get on a event session or like a Zoom call, and they just drill me with everything they dislike or what keeps them in bed, and they don't want to wake up. What's his grocery list, right? And so we'll get that, and generally that'll be retainer, because we're going to just try and pick away from the list as the weeks go by, and then every time we pick away at something else pops up, right? It's the nature of the business. Is you're going to automate this. Well, oh, what about these 3 things down here? And oh, I forgot about that. And so generally I work retainer on most of the jobs I have. And then when I get clients to a particular point of where their systems are working very well, I generally go into a maintenance mode, which is what I obviously don't like, but we'll do a small retainer. I'll stay in their Slack channel. They'll just keep me there. And then, if they have a problem, they reach out to me, and then I'm usually hyper available, and I can help them same day. And they don't have to go into Fiverr or Upwork or, some Facebook group and try and find someone to help them. I'm right there. Right. So.
Okay. And I understand, you have a course.
So I have a training program. I don't sell courses. Courses in this industry are very hard, because every single what I basically do is it's just a more mindset. It's a way of thinking, right? So instead of doing one thing, I'm trying to teach people how to develop solutions for multiple things. And so what I do is I do group coaching. I have a course, if you will, but it's not like lesson A through Z. It's more of like group coaching recordings. Here's what the topics are. Here's what came up in conversation, things like that. That way you have like a library to go back to of things that, may make sense. But I can't, specific things like how to use this CRM, how to do that. Sure, I've got that, but how to become an integrator A to Z. It's like, it's who's going to hire you first, and who's going to be your first client? What industry are they in? What software are they using? It's like, there's a ton of stuff, right? And so, yeah, I don't have a course, but I have a group coaching where we jump on every week. We go over, their questions. We go over specific client problems. How would people develop these solutions? And we'll just build them right then and there on the call.
And so what's really the best strategy if somebody wanted to get started? What's the best thing to do?
So the best strategy to get started, just reach out to me if you want to become an integrator. Like I would say, I've been doing it since 2017, 2018, for quite a while now. And I've been, successful, self-employed. My wife's a full-time mom. So, we're doing pretty good. And so reaching out to me is probably the best solution. And if that's not, you want to, work your way into becoming an integrator, there's a ton of, I always joke that I graduated from the University of YouTube, because there's no school for this, there is no course, right? There isn't. So everything that I've done, I've looked it up, or I've, found something similar and I've watched it. Right. And so, there's YouTube is my best friend. I like I said, I graduated from that. So getting started would be that. I'm on Facebook. You can find me there. There's a couple of people posing as me, so it's hard to miss my profile, but it is possible you can. And obviously there's the Integrator Academy.com that has video and my story a bit on there and stuff like that.
All right. So is that the best way for people to get in touch with you, is to go to theintegratoracademy.com? Is that, or is there another place?
There's a video there that you can go watch. You can opt in and give me your email and stuff like that. The other thing that you could do is just like find me on Facebook and send me a DM, and we can talk, right? Because I find that a lot of times that's the easiest way. Your questions get answered right away, but the video does answer a lot. So either way, it's definitely a good scenario. It depends on what you want to do. But if you want more information first, definitely go watch the video. I have a email sequence that's about 70 emails long. So you'll get a ton of emails, a ton of knowledge and all that kind of stuff, even just being on my email list and stuff like that. So there's tons of information that you can get. So there's PDFs that I give out. There's everything inside of that email sequence as well.
So you do for yourself what you do for others.
Correct. Yeah. I preach. I do exactly that. Yeah. It was, it's just the best way. Automation is good, because I'm just like everyone else. I forget, and I always joke I forget in 5 feet or 5 seconds, whatever comes first, right? So it's like, if it's not automated, it's not written down, it's not on my Google Calendar, it's not happening, right? So.
Oh, I hear that.
Yeah.
So, and that concludes our show. Thanks to our guest, Mike Dallas-Petersen of the Integrator Academy. I hope you've learned something about how an integrator helps small businesses, and maybe it's something that you want to look into. I know I did. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Profit Minds podcast. This is your host, Dr. Stephen Kirch. Please visit www.profitminds.net for other episodes or to contact me. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others. Thanks for listening. Have a grateful day.